Hello, guys. Welcome to my live. Um, I have some quiz items for you guys today, and I can answer your questions. If you have a situation going on about dating that's destroying your soul, I can give you the female perspective that sometimes, I hate to break it to you, you guys are completely and utterly blind to. All right. Now, I'm not saying females are any better. We're blind to the male gaze, but you guys are often completely blind to the female gaze. So that's where I come in. Okay. And that's where I can help you understand, hopefully on a deep level, what you guys are just not seeing, because we grow up around our own kind, if you will, males or females. We have different pressures, expectations placed on us. We're supposed to be a certain way, and we don't understand that the other gender often has completely different set of expectations placed on them, which cause them to reason differently. So I see this all the time in my consultations. I just see guys making mistakes that will turn off women, they're being blind to the female perspective, because from their perspective it makes so much sense. But I'm telling you, the women have no idea you're thinking like that. They're completely blind to your perspective. So I'm giving you guys some tips from the opposite team's playbook so you can understand what's going on much better in dating, if that makes sense. So I see a lot of big blind spots all the time on the male side. And although we don't talk about the female side as much, like female blind spots, well, I do mention them sometimes. We all know there's a lot of blind spots on their side, am I right? So, yeah. Anyway, guys, get your questions in, and perhaps you will emerge from this live wiser than you entered the live. You never know. Perhaps you will emerge stupider due to some kinds of tomfoolery that will happen in the chat. Or perhaps I'll give a wrong answer, but for the most part, it's pretty accurate. For the most part, okay? Anyway, guys, let's look in the chat and see if you have got any questions for me. So, Sebastian says, what is your opinion about the own way movement? Sebastian, I'm not sure if this movement is the same as men going their own way, MGTOW, or if this is some new movement called the own way movement. So let me know. Eric G says, yo, Victoria, what up? Yo, Eric G. Great to see you. Sebastian says, Argentina is not going okay, economics mainly. I have heard some rumblings about that, Sebastian. How are you doing there? So, OK Cover says, please talk about how, according to Pirate Werewolf Dr. Billionaire Peterson, women use stories compared to men using porn. What's hot about the experience of hearing the words/stories? All right, good question. OK Covers. First of all, can we all agree that Jordan Peterson completely misquoted a book, A Billion Wicked Thoughts, okay? And in that book, they analyzed, romance novels, and they made a list of like the top 10 professions in romance novels, okay? Of which Pirate, Werewolf, Doctor, Billionaire were like only 5. And I'm pretty sure he like misremembered like a couple of them too. So he said in his like little famous speech clip thing, those are like the top female fantasies. Top professions in romance novels versus top female fantasies. That's completely different. Okay? So The whole thing is like total BS. What he said, Jordan Peterson, okay? I'm not saying that those are not the top 10 professions in romance novels. They are according to the study. But those are not the top 5 female fantasies. That's ridiculous, okay? However, that's not your question. I just thought I'd clear that up first, okay? Your question is, why do women like stories and why do men like porn? What's so hot about stories? Okay, well, first of all, porn is basically a story for the male gaze. It's tailored to the male gaze. It's usually about like a woman who's like ready, available, hot, and wants sex. In my opinion, this is like what men want. They want a girl who desires them and is just like totally open and accepting of having sex with them and is very into the sex with them. That is a male gaze fantasy. That's what most porn is about. It seems like. Okay, that's like kind of the subtext. That's not hot for a woman. Okay? Women have basically they want to be pursued, they want to be chased, they want to be desired. They don't want to just make themselves available. Like, hello, I am ready. You may grope me, you may take off my clothes. You don't have to invest anything in me. I just think you're so hot. It's basically saying men are the prize. Men are on a pedestal. What woman thinks that's hot? Pretty much zero. So that's one reason that porn is not really tailored to women's tastes, okay? It's not their kink. Their kink is not being like just standing there and letting a guy grope them. No investment, no emotional connection, no kinky, crazy stuff going on. That's not their kink. You know what I mean? But is that a guy's kink? Feeling desired, feeling like a girl is just like screaming because, the pounding is so good. That's what men want. Okay. They want to hear like their dick is so good and everything. The pounding is so good. That's not even how women actually want sex. So it's all an illusion. It's all a male gaze fantasy, in my opinion. All right. For the most part. Okay. Obviously, there's a lot of different varieties of porn out there. So stories, on the other hand, are more psychological. Okay. They deal with kinks, they deal with kind of like emotional it's basically like they get into your psychology. They get deep into your psychology and they pinpoint things that are the hottest to women. Okay, that's why like stories they're more tailored. They're usually written by women. They're tailored for women. They're more psychological. They're more kinky. They have more kind of like emotions put into the story. In other words, like emotions women want to feel sexually. Okay? Like I guess in like porn, it's kind of like men want to feel desired. Well, in women's stories, women want to feel desired, but in different ways. We'll see what Nani has to say about this because he's been reading a lot of romantasy novels. But in general, it's more psychologically stimulating because the stories are about female gaze kinks, things that women find extremely psychologically and sexually stimulating. Okay? Like women don't just find a body part stimulating. Like I mean, for the most part, okay. Like for example, if a dick just flashed across the screen, I wouldn't be like, "Oh my god, I need to come right now. Oh my god, I'm so fucking turned on. Like this is incredible. I am seeing a body part. Oh my god, this is so hot. I can't take this." No. However, like let's say I just like flashed my breasts or whatever. I'm not flattering myself, but it's like probably people would be like taking out their dicks or something. So it's different. Okay. We want psychological stimulation from the storyline. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Are women more kinky? Maybe, probably, honestly. Seems that way. And kinks are basically stories. That's really what they are. They've got like basically a plot. That's kind of what happens in kinks. So I don't know. Anyway, it's a very interesting question. What do you guys think? What's your take on it? And let's look at Nani. I thought yes. Nani says he is watching Corn now after reading Becoming Cliterate. And OMG, yes. I'm like, wow. Oh, I see. Watching Corn now after reading Becoming Cliterate. And OMG, yes. I'm like, wow, she's a good actor. Exactly, Nani. You have next leveled yourself because it's crazy to me. Like when I watch porn, I'm just like, this is not all the time. Okay, sometimes it's different. All right, but for the most part, I'm just like, this is ridiculous. She's putting on the most ludicrous show. I mean, like for example, when like the woman is touching themselves, and you probably know this after you might have noticed this after OMGS or whatever. I'm like, what woman in the world touches themselves like that? This is ridiculous. Okay, they're just woo woo woo. I'm like, what movement is this? And they're using all this penetration and stuff. I'm like, yeah, how are men falling for this? But they do because they want to believe. All right, but the women are actors. They're performing for the male gaze. They're trying to make the man's experience like freaking hot. They're trying to turn him on psychologically. They're trying to just give him everything he's ever like deep down desired. And that includes a lot of like fakery. Okay. So if women were doing what they wanted, would it be as hot for the guy? I don't know. What do you guys think? Maybe, maybe not. So great point, Nani. Has it like ruined Corn for you, or what do you think now? But yeah, that they are actors, they are actresses, and they really ham it up for the male gaze. So and thank you so much again, Nani, for your super chat. Really appreciate your support. Always, it's incredible, and I commend you on your continual education of yourself. Like, God, you're gonna be a sex master. It's crazy. All right, so what do you guys think about this question? Let's see. Let's read what you said. Hold on, going up in the chat. So Sebastian said, I recently discovered your channel. Great topics. Bake215 says, you help these people. You give good advice. Thanks, Bake. William says, thank you. Interesting and helpful. Looking forward to learning and hopefully not departing more stupider. Thanks, William. Yael says, yo. John Barrett says, hello, Victoria. Thanks for the live chat. My pleasure, John. Hello again, Nani. Sebastian says, yes, in the movement, you say. Yes, it is the movement, you say. Okay, MG Toyota. We'll come back to that. Patty says, day 167, no FAP. Oh my God, how's that going? That is crazy, bro. How do you do it? Damien says, your opinion on the phenomenon Hawk Tua. You guys should give me your perspective. Like, why did it strike such a chord? I saw it. I mean, it was funny, but why did it become like a cultural phenomenon? I mean, I think the name is kind of catchy, like the way they spelled it, like Hawk, like HAWK. What do you guys think? Sebastian says, what happened with your blog? It seems not to be updated in years. Yes, well, that was my vegan blog. I'm still vegan, but I just stopped blogging about veganism. Temp user says, hi, Victoria. What are your thoughts on a guy escalating with touch during a first/second date? You absolutely should, temp user. Yes, you should, in the appropriate ways. Hopefully you know what those are. All right, you should do what's appropriate for the amount of connection, the amount of time you've been talking. But yes, it's absolutely essential in my opinion. Axoner says, hey there. Hello, Axoner. Consideration common is giving me a fire emoji. Thank you so much. Ryan Hendricks says, how can I approach an introverted girl? All right, that's a good question. We'll come back to that one because I'm trying to get your opinions on erotic stories versus porn. So Patty says, according to experts, the majority of porn is viewed by women. That can't be true. I just that seems crazy to me, Patty. Like maybe you're right. It just like literally would shatter my brain if that's the truth. But so consideration comment says porn is disgusting. Well, I don't think it's disgusting, and I don't think you guys should have like shame about watching it or anything. It just understand it's like entertainment catered to your deep needs and kinks, basically. It's not disgusting, in my opinion. Hedonese says, hello again, a late one tonight, huh? Well, Hedoniste, I'm now on Pacific time, so it's not actually as late as one might think for me, but it's maybe for you, because are you East? So Julia says, you sort of missed his point, though. We watch porn because the girl physically meets our desires, yet with female porn, they're less titillated by attractive men. Well, I don't really I do disagree with that. Like, if you've ever read a romance novel and you read a description of the man in porn, this man is like the most freaking attractive man you've ever heard of in your entire life. Like, I should just get up, like, I have like 365 days on my phone, and the description of the man is just hilarious. I mean, it's taken straight out of a Black Pill video. Let me try to find it. Like, it's literally describing his height, his jawline, his physique, his like hunter eyes. Like, I mean, the women want insanely physically attractive men. I mean, if anything, it's like in female porn, they're just kind of all different body types, all different face types. You know what I'm saying? But in porn written for women, trust me, the guy always looks like a freaking 0.000000000000001% male model. Like, no joke. So I don't necessarily agree with that. However, yeah. And women use like their imaginations to imagine that. All right. I'm not really sure how I missed the point though. Let me know. So Patty says, according to the semen retention / nofap community, men are the prize. Okay. Well, that's stupid. Okay. You can if you really need like the boost in self-esteem, you can think of yourself as prize, okay? Because I'm sure you're a great person. You deserve to be valued and respected by a person you're in a relationship with. However, this whole attitude of like men are the prize is not going to go well for you in dating. For example, the second you say men are the prize to a woman, she's going to be like, this guy's feminine as fuck, this guy's beta as fuck, I'm getting the hell out of here. Okay? So it will instantly repel 100% of women. So if you need to like think to yourself, like, I'm a prize too, you can, but don't utter it aloud or you will instantly repel all women. Second, it's not a good way to frame dating, okay? Because a lot of times you need to find someone you think is a prize and go after her. Okay? That's very core and essential to female sexuality. So if you want to be the prize and you don't want to treat her as the prize, you're going to screw yourself in your approach. Okay? Because you're going to say, well, it should be at least 50-50 or even 60-40. She should be making the effort to me. She should show me that she's interested. She should reciprocate. She should do all this stuff. And that's just not how the initial stages of dating work in many cases. And so men just stall there forever thinking, nobody thinks I'm the prize. Yeah. They're not going to think you're the prize until you've had sex with them and you're in a relationship with them, basically. Or you've had sex with them and they're into you because you've kind of treated them like the prize. However, what does treating someone like the prize mean? It can be ambiguous because guys can think, oh, that means I have to, take her on like a $300 date and I have to shower her with gifts on the first date and all this. No, that's not what I'm saying. However, you do need to take the masculine role. You need to pursue. You need to set the date. You need to plan the date. You need to escalate on the date. You need to create the chemistry. You need to create the romance. You need to initiate the text. In that sense, you are the pursuer. So, does that make sense? Floyd Runner says, size queens are rare. BDE is psychological. Yes, I agree. BDE is psychological, and the first sentence is a little needs some explanation, but most women would take a guy who knows about female sexuality, knows about female kinks, knows about female psychology, and has a small dick or a smaller dick over a guy with a big dick who doesn't know about female sexuality, doesn't know how to make a woman come, doesn't know about foreplay any day. So while, for some women, big dick might be nice to have, especially like psychologically, for a lot of women, they're just like, well, that's way down my list because I want someone who just knows how to make me come, knows how to make me feel good sexually. So, and also, some women, they're not very tall. Okay. They can't take the big size anyway. They actually like hoping, like, they're like, oh no, he has a big dick. This isn't going to fit, basically. So it varies. So Yael says, you are good at explaining this all. I'm glad I found you. It's cool to see how women think compared to men. Oh, I'm so glad you like it. Hendrik says, to say 0 women think that's hot is crazy. Given we live in the instant gratification era, I doubt Gen Z and even worse Gen Alpha is going to be reading stories in the next few years. What did I say 0 women think is hot? I forgot already what I said that because I was given a lot of 0 women like this, 0 women like that. So consideration comes as, I think for a man to avoid temporary pleasure is to have purpose. Anonymous says, gray sweatpants though? Yes, gray sweatpants. They signal athleticism to women, which can be a very common kink for women. So Nani says, also, I feel like the books cater to the female gay storyline. The reader witnesses the characters falling for one another, and it leaves the reader hanging on a cliffhanger with each page. Also, the reader can place themselves as the main character, 100%. And also, we have to understand, like, there's erotic stories and there's like romantasy books. Erotic stories are like 10 times crazier than these romantasy books. But so yeah, like I read like straight up erotic stories. They're even fucking crazier. So then, but yeah, very good points. Consideration comments is it's interesting to know what women kinks and they're interested in. I'm confused by that sentence, but probably like what women's kinks are and stuff. So Vibor Kumar says, if you want a short-term thing with a woman, how should you set the tone from the beginning? First of all, you can hire a sex worker. They specialize in short-term things, and hopefully they'll be legal. So, second of all, you can simply do all the basic dating etiquette correct on the date. You can escalate. You can invite her back to your place. You can kiss. You can make out. You can have sex consensually, of course. Obviously, this does not need to be said. Hopefully. And then you can continue having sex because she'll probably, hopefully, if you've studied your sexual education, she will like having sex with you. She will want to have sex again with you. Then, you don't really have to say anything. If she's like, hey, like, what are you doing this weekend or whatever, and you want to stop seeing her, you can just be like, I can't, like, I'm busy. So you never have to, you just have to basically do the exact same thing you would do if you want a relationship. Obviously, you're not lying, but you're simply having fun on the date. You're talking on the date. You're creating chemistry on the date. You're escalating on the date. It leads to sex. And instead of you continuing to get to know each other better and better and better and better, and then eventually having the talk about, are we exclusive? You just move on. I mean, that's what people do. I mean, hopefully you'll be polite about it, but you're not obligated. You didn't sign on a dotted line anywhere. You can just be like, oh, I can't this weekend. Like, I'm busy. I can. I'm going out with my friends. Like, that's it. So, all right. What's next? I'm confused a little bit. Okay, I got misplaced myself in the chat here. So Julie says porn is not real in the same way that film isn't real. They have to do radically different positions and movements. Real sex doesn't look good. Yes, I've heard there's a lot of art to it with all the lighting and the positions. Yeah. So consideration comments is I just ignore women and they're attracted to me, wanting my unwanted attention. Weird, to be honest. Somehow I doubt it, but okay. I mean, if you're very good looking, they might want you, even though you give them nothing. But so, okay, Carver says, interesting girl blind spot. In my opinion, men don't care at all about being desired ourselves. Like hearing, OMG, you're so good. We just care about her body parts being fully available for us to enjoy. Well, her body parts being fully available for you to enjoy is her desiring you. Because she's saying, you know, most women in real life, if they don't like the guy, will be like, fuck no, get away from my body. You disgust me, you creepy, ugly, you know, old man, basically. All right. That's how like a normal woman would feel about some random guy coming up and trying to touch her body parts. So a woman just standing there and letting you touch her like they do in porn is basically saying to men, I desire you because I'm available to you. I'm sexually available to you. I'm accepting your touch and I'm even liking your touch. So they don't have to say, oh my God, you're so amazing. But just her standing there and letting you touch her shows in porn, I desire you. I want you. I'm available for you. I'm letting you do this. Okay. So I think it is basically saying the same thing. Dear Juan says, the fact that idiots think NoFap actually works, lol. No comment, dear Juan, but yeah. I mean, it does work. It seems like it is helpful for some people and that it motivates them to get out there, right? But to think it just gives them some magical powers, yeah. So Frony Man says, how do you stimulate the female gaze once you're in a relationship? Maybe suggest some simple daily kinks for boyfriends. That's a good question, Frony Man. So first of all, there's different aspects to the female gaze, okay? Like I always frame it in this whole alpha in love, right? You want to, the alpha part, that's female gaze, okay? But the in love part is also female gaze, especially in a relationship. So for the alpha parts, like for example, my boyfriend, he has kind of like his, what I call his abusive boyfriend persona, okay? Where basically he takes on a role of kind of like a toxic guy. Like sometimes he'll just push me up against the wall or like pretend to like choke me or something. Obviously, he's not actually doing this. He's not actually angry at me. He's not actually trying to abuse me. He just does it kind of like for my entertainment and like sexual stimulation, basically. And he'll be like, "Oh, you little bitch," or something. He'll try to pretend to be like possessive, toxic, jealous. So that's one way you can kind of stimulate the alpha part in a relationship, and that kind of plays on female kinks for alpha toxic bad boy, basically. Then for the in love part, that's also very female gaze. Like it's very important to just be a good listener, know how to validate women's emotions, take her out on dates, give her little gifts. These also stimulate the female gaze in a relationship. But you want to do both. You want to have the alpha part and you want to have the in love part. The soft skills, the emotional skills that women want in a relationship. Together, everything becomes greater than the sum of its parts, okay? It becomes a wonderful relationship women want to be in. So Ace says, Hawk Tuo, we love when girls are honest about being freaky. Yeah, it was refreshing. I agree. Consideration says, does girl like men do the escalate first? And also, why woman play passive, making man wait for a move? Okay, good question, consideration, comment. All right. The answer is, this is very core to female sexuality, okay? Women want to feel like a man is going to fight for them, is going to invest in them, and is going to work to claim them, basically, okay? Sexually, it's similar, all right? So if a guy is saying, I'm not going to do that, I just don't care, you're not worth it to me, I am the prize, what do you bring to the table? It should be 50-50. I shouldn't have to exert effort for you. I shouldn't have to go out on a limb. I don't even know if I like you. I don't even know if this is worth it. I have porn. I can just watch that. I can just play video games. That's fucking killing any kind of like sexuality women have, all right? Not exactly. It's not killing their sexuality. That wasn't the perfect way of saying it, but it's just killing their lady boner, as I put in one of the videos before, okay? It's turning them off. It's making them dry up. So if you guys don't get with the program and get rid of this whole BS advice you guys get so much on YouTube, you are just oblivious. You are completely blind to female sexuality, okay? Now, I'm not saying this advice doesn't have some application in some scenarios, but I see this a lot in the consultations, okay? Guys, they have low self-esteem. They want to feel desired. They want to feel like, validated. They want to feel like the woman wants them. Okay? But it's a turnoff to women, and it will just like distort and mess with, and what's the word, like just put up all these obstacles in how women expect and want dating to go. And guys often think, oh yeah, but then I'll just, some woman will come around and, she'll just be so horny for me, just like she is for, Chad. She'll just jump on my dick. It will go so great. I won't have to lift a finger. And it never happens, okay? Or maybe it happens once every 3 years, depending on how good looking you are. Yes, the more good looking you are, the more women will kind of be like wanting something to happen. But even if you're good looking, you will still have to take this masculine role. They will still want you to invest and they will not feel good. They will not enjoy. They will eventually get sick of being in a masculine role, in the sense of being the pursuer, being the leader, coming to you, initiating sex with you all the time. They want, that's what feeling like a woman basically means, okay? It means a guy makes them feel pursued, desired, taken care of. That's what they mean when they want to feel submissive. They want to feel like a woman, okay? Because that's very core. It's very integral and essential to female sexuality. It basically comes down to this alpha submissive kink, all right? Women want to just be doing their own thing, like a wild stallion, and the man pursues, invests, and tames them and claims them. That's very core. Okay? And that's why like porn is so antithetical to that. All right? Because like, in what has a porn ever been made like that? Probably not, because it's just so opposite like what men want. But It's what men have to do. It's like the hoops that women make men jump through in order to sort the men from the boys. Okay, it's like an ancient evolutionary thing. And no, is it fun? No, because some guys are losing the game, some guys can't compete, and some guys are winners. Like, it's not fun, but that's the age-old competition ritual. Okay, and that is female sexuality for you in a nutshell. It's been like a crazy uphill battle to get a lot of guys to accept this. They don't want to. They just want to say, no, we refuse. We're going our own way. Well, we don't want to compete. I will wait for a woman to jump on my dick. And it never happens. Never. Maybe once in a lifetime. So you guys can do it. You really can. You just need to understand women more. So anyway, Lucky Keep says, you're doing a good job for men out there. Thank you. Thanks, Lucky. So Silver Class says, why does everyone want to know who the Hawk Tuah girl? What about a friend? Yeah, I don't know. It's one of these like viral phenomenons. Julie says, please tell me that book you referenced. What was it? 365 Days? I'm not sure. Consideration comment says, does a man have pretty handsome privilege like a woman does? Absolutely. Absolutely, guys. That's why I'm always telling you guys, work on your looks maxing. It will make a world of difference. Absolutely. Women don't like to admit it because it's subconscious. It's hard to detect. But studies show, and you will absolutely get better results the more you work on your looks maxing. I sent this video to my friend, and it was actually today. And it was actually Sure 7, okay? And she was saying, if a man can do drag and look like a beautiful woman, you as a woman can up-level your look and looks max, right? So she was trying to tell women to looks max, all right? But think about it. If a man can look like a beautiful woman, as many drag queens do, or just other people, a man can look like a beautiful man by putting on a costume of attractive looks. For example, if you're bald or you're going bald, or you can wear wigs. Different wigs will have a huge effect on the way women perceive you. You can change your facial hair to help. You can do skincare. You can even wear makeup. This is becoming more and more popular for men. Okay, you can get colored contacts. You can lose weight. You can pack on muscle. You can wear basically very stylish clothes that women like. All these things can help you guys have pretty privilege, okay, and get easier results in dating. You don't have to work so hard on your game because of pretty privilege. People just give you the benefit of the doubt. The halo effect is working for you. So William Driscoll says, maybe physical attraction shows the person has strong survival traits, that man/woman has access to a healthy diet, leading to healthy eyes, musculature, skilled structure, skin hair. Yes, you're probably right. Russell Cameron Thomas says, hi, V. Are we really back on who is the prize? Lame-o. Indeed, we are. Dear Juan says, men are the prize. I guarantee the dude that just said that ain't shit low. Well, I mean, I don't want to insult him because I agree with you that, when you have to like build yourself up and say you're the prize, you probably don't necessarily feel like the prize. So there's no need to insult anyone because he probably is insecure and like does need validation because he probably isn't succeeding with women, and that's okay. That's exactly why we're all here learning about how you can get better. So yeah. So Floyd Runner says forearm porn. Yeah, it's not really like women's real kinks, although they say because it's kind of like a safe one. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a hinting at dominance. That's basically what it is. All right. Because, like, if a guy's veins are popping out of his forearms, it's kind of like raw aggression running through his veins. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of hinting at more. So One Year Dog says, my sister and I watched the first episode of F-Boy Island. We enjoyed it immensely. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. You and your sister watching F-Boy Island. I'm so glad. It's a fun show. I enjoy it. And get your looks maxing inspiration from F-Boy Island, as my friend Philosophy Junkies told me he did. And actually, watching this show revolutionized his F-Boy status because he modeled himself after one of the ultimate F-Boys on F-Boy Island. And it worked very, very well. So Temp User says, thanks for your answer. Regarding touch, could you elaborate on what's appropriate for a first, second date? In the past, I've tended to be way too conservative in fear of overstepping any boundaries. Yes, well, I wish I had my little diagram here, but basically it depends on what point of the date you're at. Like, think of the runway, okay? If you watch my video on the runway, it's a straight line, guys. All right, but it's kind of going like this, right? Like a runway. And let's say the runway starts at 0, okay? So you meet the girl on the date, all right? You could give her a hug. You can, that's like an appropriate step 0 to 1 on the runway scale. That's appropriate touch for just meeting a girl when you get on the date, okay? You could also, some people like do the air kisses, or like, you know, some people have different levels of comfort. But I think a hug is a safe touch to do when you first meet a person you've never met before on the date. You know what I'm saying? This is your first date. Next, you go into the bar, the restaurant, wherever you're going. A next level, a touch that would be appropriate then is maybe putting your hand maybe like on her back or on her arm if you're kind of guiding her somewhere into the restaurant and it's kind of like busy or crowded. Okay. Then you sit down at the table. All right. So you're talking, you're getting to know each other. So the date's kind of, you know, the trust is building, the connection is building, the conversation is building. So, you know, it kind of depends how you're sitting. Like, let's say you're sitting, hopefully you'll be sitting next to each other, like at a bar. That would be really ideal. Although you can move to get next to her. But, you know, an appropriate touch might be like if you're laughing, you could like touch her knee or something, or like touch her arm. Do you know what I'm saying? Or if you're going to the bathroom, you could like get up and be like touching like her arm as you leave. These are all socially appropriate gestures and touches that are appropriate for the level of trust you have built, connection you have built, and yet it's a little bit touchy, okay? But it's appropriate for the situation, right? As you get to know her more, okay, there's more stuff you can do. Like you're drinking, it's getting more flirty, the conversation is flowing. You might do the age-old thing that lots of guys love to do is be like, make up some excuse to touch her, like on her hands, for example. Like, be like, oh, give me your hand for a second. They do the old palm reading trick, right? Like, oh, like, I'm noticing something here. Like, you have a really strong lifeline or whatever. You just make it up, okay? It's just excuses to touch. Hands, again, it's a little bit okay. Not everybody touches my hand, but it's still appropriate, okay? You're not groping anything. You're just touching the hand. Do you know what I'm saying? Maybe if there's some lint on her shirt, you can like be like, oh, you know, picking the lint off. It's kind of like making up little excuses that are still plausible, socially appropriate to break the touch barrier and get closer to each other. Okay. Maybe if you're sitting next to each other, like at kind of like a dark bar kind of thing, you can do the old, oh, like you look tense, and just start kind of like massaging her shoulders. Maybe you don't want to say you look tense, but just like, oh, like basically you just start like giving her a little massage or whatever. Again, this is kind of like socially appropriate, friendly, a little bit flirty, but you're not doing anything that's going to get you thrown in jail. You know what I'm saying? And you can just read and see if she's enjoying it or she's tensing up like, oh no, God, no, don't touch me. All right. then it gets more towards like the kissing stage where, you've been talking for like an hour or an hour and a half or whatever, 2 hours, you're drinking, you maybe had a second drink, things are going well. You can do the old hair behind the ear thing. Like if like a hair is in her face, or let's say she's wearing a bracelet, you can like touch it and be like, oh, I really like this. This is so pretty or something. Or where'd you get this, to have like a more masculine approach to that. Or, you have to like make up little ways to do socially appropriate touches. Okay. Then you can go in for the kiss. Again, this is breaking the touch barrier. You kiss her. You know what I'm saying? So this is what I'm talking about. All right. These are the kind of things, along with compliments, all right, in the right way, that really create sexual chemistry, along with teasing, flirting on a date. Okay. But if you just never touch her, it's going to come off as you're scared, you're, worried, you're not feeling confident, and she'll kind of be thinking, I don't feel a spark, basically. I'm not going to say she is necessarily going to feel a spark if you do these touches. However, you're in the running, at least at that point. Okay. So she's going to give you a chance. She's going to be open to it because she's going to see you as a guy who knows what to do in dating, who's confident, basically, in dating. So does that make sense? You're in the running. They're not just like, get him out of the race. He doesn't know what he's doing. So Sebastian says, the own way movement says everything that matters in the game is just looks, status, and money. Well, that's very stupid because looks are important. Do looks matter? Yes. Is status something that makes women attracted? Yes. Is money something that makes women attracted? Yes. However, what about game? What about personality? There's a lot more to it than just look, status, money. I'm not saying they're not important, but to just say, oh, it all comes down to look, status, money. So if you don't have look, status, or money, you're screwed. Well, you want to try to have like a few things going for you, whether that's your personality, whether that's your game, whether that's your understanding of women, whether that's your looks, hopefully looks at the same time as all those things, right? Status and money, you can do without it, okay? If you happen to have high status, okay, you're in a good spot. If you happen to have a lot of money, you're in an okay spot, as long as you also know some basic dating etiquette. So yeah. Consideration common. I need when I get my soundboard, I'm going to have an emotional beings fallacy button. Female is female. No means yes, yes means no. That's just gross. Like, I'm sorry. That's a really bizarre and gross statement. They're emotional. You're fucking emotional, consider it common. Let's be real. I'm sure you're very fucking emotional. I'm sure you're very fucking insecure. You're very emotional. You might be differently emotional. You might be emotional about different things, but to just try to put down women like, they don't know what they want. They don't know what they mean. They're so emotional. You're emotional too. We all know this. You're not fooling anyone. So please just accept it. William Driscoll says, I love your concept of alpha in love. That, if I combine another model or two with that model, that a man who can lead and has developed social intuition is accepted men and women can adapt. Okay. I'll have to follow up because I don't see the end of that. So OK Cover says, I suspect women pretend not to be into hyper-attractive men, e.g. romance novel men, and say, I prefer dad bods due to comfort, only due to insecurity / saying socially acceptable things. Thoughts? No, I disagree. I completely disagree, okay? So you can't, like, for example, guys just cannot wrap the head around this, okay? You think about it, okay? If women are attracted to a psychological storyline, basically the alpha submissive kink, basically being pursued, claimed by a man, that's kind of like very core to female sexuality. Guess what? A guy in a dad bod can do that. Okay? A hyper attractive man can do that. Both guys can do that. Whereas, like, for a lot of men, I must have a very attractive woman. That is all I care about because I love body parts so badly. Okay, maybe it's different for men. But for women, personality and the frame which a guy approaches her, triggering her kinks, means a lot. Okay? A guy in a dad bod could be a dom. A guy in a dad bod could push her up against the wall and say, "Oh, you little bitch, that guy in a dad bod is still stronger than her." Okay? So to just say like, "Oh, women don't know what they want," and I'm not saying you're saying this, but so many guys they just act like, "Oh, women are just lying because they say they actually like a guy who doesn't have like 1% body fat." They're not lying. You know, they're not, okay? However, in romance novels, it's often kind of like this very ideal version of reality where you don't just get something you want, you get literally everything you want. Okay? So you don't just get a guy who's like, he's good looking. Okay, he doesn't have the craziest body in the world, but he has a fucking amazing personality and he knows how to approach women in the way they really really resonate with, and he is a really good dom, let's say, in bed, or he's good in bed. You don't just get like 70% of what you want, 80%. You get 100% of what you want. You can imagine that guy being like insanely attractive. That doesn't mean you can't be attracted to someone who's giving you 80% of what you want or whatever. And yeah, for some women, you know, the reality of dating a guy who looks like a literal male model is not worth it, okay? Because these guys are notoriously not interested in settling down. They're notoriously F-boy, they're notoriously douchey, they're notoriously, you know, Derek Zoolander or whatever. So they're very focused on their looks maxing. They're very focused on fucking women. That's why they put so much effort into their looks maxing. So it's not necessarily a good bet for a woman to get with a guy like that. It's just not worth it. It's like, okay, he's attractive, but like for me, I'm not even attracted to guys like that because it's like I don't fucking care what you look like. I want you to be good in bed because that's what's important to me. So if you're good looking but you're not good in bed, it means absolutely nothing to me. I'm like, okay, well, I'm disgusted in bed. So please leave the bed. Please leave. You know what I'm saying? So William says, I like your concept from 2 years ago that women long to be the object of affection of the alpha and love. I find that I can direct my attention towards developable characters. Very good. So, and in win-win ways, display. Okay. I got lost in the chat again. We'll see where we are. So William says, and in win-win ways, display and maybe dangle some of those attributes for a woman to also take part in the pursuing. Maybe she gets pursued a lot every day. Maybe she wants to hunt a man. Characteristics that are congruent, true to the man, displaying them. Okay. Anonymous says, herd gray sweatpants go beyond signaling athleticism, but also has to do with the D print being more visible. Could it be that some women do put similar interest in what they physically see as men do? You guys would love that, wouldn't you? But yes, women can like to see an outline of a dick because it's like hinting at sexuality, okay? They don't want to see it all up close. It's like, again, the runway concept, okay? The more the woman is turned on, okay, let's say the scale goes from 0 to 10, okay? If the woman's at a 10, she might want to see the full dick, okay? If she's at maybe like a 3 or a 4 or a 2, 3, 4, like she is in daily life when she's just scrolling on TikTok and seeing a guy with gray sweatpants, just the outline is enough, okay? Because that's kind of corresponding to the level of turned on she is. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're not really turned on, do you really want to see like an in your face thing? Not exactly. So the dick print is kind of like enough. It's like hinting, okay, but you don't have to be faced with like, oh my God. All right. So yeah. But you know, Do women put similar interest in what they physically see as men do? Some women do. Some women are very obsessed with looks. Okay, and that's like how the major way they get turned on. They're not super kinky. They just like a very good-looking model, basically. So yeah, some women are like that. Some women are more psychologically turned on by different kinks or whatever. So Floyd Runner says, I confirm that the body part shown in sweats is seen as classier than blatant display of bodyhood. Yes, that's kind of what I was saying. So Snicksar says, how to get a girl who is into shy guys? Well, your best bet would be like a super extroverted girl, in my opinion. Vibor says, hey, Victoria, do you think people have that super pure, supernatural love experience in real life, like a soulmate in real life? I definitely do. Some people definitely do. Okay. So Floyd Runner says, dark clothing and a balaclava is looks maxing JK. It's not going to be nearly enough, Floyd. Nani says, a woman during my camping trip told me you're empathetic, kind, and supportive person. You're true to yourself, and you're not putting up a fake image of yourself. She made my day. Nani, I completely concur with that, knowing you, as much as I do, but I think that describes you very well, and I agree with that. And yeah, I can see why that felt good. But it's true. William says, calibrating between dominating without the abuse and checking in only so often as to make sure she and I am comfortable and that it's safe for both of us to continue the role-playing check. Very good. Floyd Runner says, hello? How to induce butterflies? Basically take her on a date, do what I said earlier on this live on the date, and you will induce butterflies. Robert says, have you seen Casey Xander's channel, and what do you think of his advice? I have seen certain videos from his channel, and I'll be completely honest here. I've been shocked, horrified, disgusted, screaming, tearing my hair out, running, throwing up, because I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? This is so fucking ridiculous, okay? I've never liked what I've seen, to put it mildly. All right. So Tortuga says, hi, I really like the way you think, where your knowledge comes from. I guess it comes from personal experience, books, courses, consultations, my comment section, basically. Silver Cloud says, what if she's bi or not just sub? I think you mean switch, right? If she's a switch? If she's a switch, great. Okay? She wants to dom you? Amazing. Wonderful. William says, maybe we can get the validation we need for our self-image support by being out in the world and largely bearing those cues in mind rather than something validation from a romantic partner. Interesting idea. Floyd Runner says, what does a woman initiate? Training their boyfriends? Well, I'm not sure what you're referring to, Floyd, but like once you're in a relationship, like a woman will initiate a lot. Okay, she'll initiate wanting to go on dates with you. She'll initiate wanting to have sex with you. Like there's a bunch of different things she could initiate. So I'm not sure what you're referring to. Jellyfish says, every guy can compete. They just don't know they can. 100% Jellyfish. I 100% agree with that statement. Truer words have never been spoken on this channel. Hedony says, the world is very unfair. It is. You're completely correct. Floyd Runner says, Hawktua doesn't take herself seriously. Yeah, I did notice that about her. That was kind of cool. So Cyclone Zero says, I had a girl literally gushing over me over text, calling me king, and then as soon as I tried setting up a date, she ghosted. Why? Well, I'd have to see the text because we'll see if you just... How was she literally gushing over you? I'd have to see the actual text. If you can screenshot it and send it to my non-other life, I'll look at it. Dev says, great advice. I would still be married if I would have known this information a long time ago. At least I know now, thanks to you. Amazing, Dev. Which information in particular? Jellyfish says, do you think a man should put more effort into their bodies or their heads/faces? I actually think you should go with your head/faces, okay? I think that will get you the bigger bang for your buck. Obviously, body is good, but I think the head/faces is really going to make a noticeable difference. Anonymous says, instructions not clear. She now thinks I'm a drag queen and uninterested. How do I save this? Very funny, Anonymous. Delacourt B says, hey, Victoria, recently started watching and love the content you're putting out there. Keep up the good work. Got an interesting question following as well in a bit, but still typing that one out. All right, I'll be looking for that. So William says, maybe a beauty thing for men is to gently scrub the face with a clean washcloth and a little olive or coconut oil to help the skin look elastic. Yeah, William, this is way too basic. You guys are thinking way too small when it comes for looks maxing. You're literally saying washing your face or, exfoliating your face. All right, fine. But I want you guys to get so much deeper into looks maxing than just washing your face. This is nothing. On a scale of 0 to looks maxing, you haven't even begun looks maxing if you just exfoliate the skin. All right, I want you to do things that give you a real bang for your buck. Aditya says, can I be friends with my ex or is it just not possible? I want your perception on it. Yes, you can be friends with your ex. All right, obviously it depends on the situation, but it's definitely possible. Lots of people do it. Evan Wells 1 says, makeup and wigs is too much for me, man. I do think there's a serious danger there of the woman being turned off by the man being too self-conscious with that kind of maxing. Well, I can understand why you would be concerned with that, but I think if you just freaking give it a shot, do an experiment, you will be ridiculously surprised on how effective it really is. Okay? Like, just look at before and afters of guys wearing wigs. Okay? It's insanely apparent the difference it makes. It could take like 15 years and, they look like a player versus a guy who's like invisible. Okay? It's not too much. I mean, yeah, you have to make sure it works for your face, works for you, looks actually good. Doesn't look like just, you went into a Halloween store and like plopped on a wig, right? But give it a shot. Most men will not do it. Okay? And they will continue to fight an uphill battle. So Temp User says, thanks for your answers. You are welcome, Temp User. So Viraj, game and personality make up a very small part of the attraction game all over, but money and looks goes a long way. I don't agree. I think that, it depends on what kind of girl you're looking for. Okay. If you're going to try to find a gold digger, I guess money will go a further way. I agree with you, looks goes a long way, but game and personality is huge. Okay. You can look good and you can pay for an expensive date. And if you don't understand basic dating skills, if you don't have basic flirting skills, if you don't know how to create chemistry, she will just choose another guy who has good looks and takes her on a date. There's a large pool of people with good looks, okay? The game and personality, okay, I'm not saying you have to be some kind of extreme elite expert pickup artist, okay, but you do need the basics, which many guys don't have. Victor says, never take dating advice from women. Why the fuck are you here, Victor? Please leave, go to Casey Xander's channel, and you can take all the advice you want and see where it gets you. William says, swinging is fine as long as everyone is on board with it before the fact of treating everyone the same. Yes, swinging is fine. So Floyd Runner says, one time I did those things you said about touching with some mirroring, and she grabbed me by the collar, hauled on me, and kissed me. I was playing hard to get. I initiated some touch and talk flirting. Good for you. Why did you just do it one time? Okay, Cover says, I appreciate your feedback. God bless you. Okay, thanks, Okay Covers. I don't know what you're referring to here, Floyd Runners. So Blasphemy says, when approaching girls that are in groups at the club, should I grab a random dude and act like he's my friend and make him talk to the other girls in the group? You don't need to do that. I mean, you can, but it's definitely not necessary. You don't need to, act like, I have friends. I definitely have friends. Friends, friends, friends. I definitely have friends. Like that TikTok sound, okay? You just need to be confident. Like it's not lame that you're alone. Girls assume guys go places alone. Like when I worked in the strip club, guys would just assume, like, oh, I'm here alone. I'm so creepy. I'm like, no, you're not. Girls don't see guys who are alone as creepy. They project the hypermasculinity bias on guys and they think that, guys go out alone all the time. They're kind of like lone wolves. So they don't think this is weird. They're not like, ew, he doesn't have friends. This is weird. I mean, maybe some, but for the most part, it's not like a big deal. So Delacourt says about the mask video, it really hit home to me since I'm autistic. Thing is, I'm confident and assertive enough to dispose of self-thought mask, but this is not always socially acceptable. Any advice? Yes. Well, I would just work on your social skills, Delacourt. I mean, getting rid of all the masks doesn't necessarily go great for everyone, It's not always socially acceptable. That's for sure. That's why I think it is good to have social skills and to learn them if necessary, like I have to do. So Lucky says the new things kids are obsessed with now is aura. What's that all about, Lucky? Explain that to me. Nestor says, why do I mostly seem to attract broken women? They're usually hot, but they have challenges, BPD, psychotic, codependent, etc. I'm trying to better myself spiritually, and I hope that cures it. Well, I don't know why working on yourself spiritually is going to cure it. First of all, you have to understand, most guys, they don't understand women, and some guys think that like any kind of emotional issues, meaning like concerns or thoughts or needs or wants that women have are like some guys, they really think that anything that women bring up that they don't understand because like, if they were living with a male roommate, their male roommate wouldn't have these thoughts. So they consider those as like, oh, she's crazy. Okay. And that's why for many, many, many decades, maybe hundreds of years, men used to lock women away in insane asylums. Literally. Okay. And they were very sane. The men just didn't understand what they were talking about. And sometimes they want a convenient excuse to get rid of them. So let's hope that that's not you, Nestor. I don't think it's you because I've seen your comments. You seem like you got a good head on your shoulders. But let's say you really are just attracting people with borderline personality disorder, psychosis, codependent. In that case, learn about how to spot these people and then avoid them. Okay? Even if they're hot. And that's another thing. A lot of times guys are so concerned with like getting a hot woman that they're like, oh, I don't really care about like her personality basically because she's hot and I've been wanting someone hot. Please, a hot woman is giving me a chance. Fearless here. Hi.
What the fuck is going on in here?
My abusive boyfriend's back.
Huh? You talking to 77 dudes online? Maybe 76 dudes, one woman?
He's giving you guys a little demo.
I can't go anywhere. Can't go anywhere. A bunch of dudes on the internet.
Well, David, I'm getting really annoyed today because I'm getting very angry, so I'm just lashing out at everyone and insulting everyone. So
now you know what it's like to be me, guys. I'm just kidding. Victoria's actually very easy to get along with.
Very fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, learn how to avoid these people with the book 5 People Who Can Ruin Your Life. It's a great book. Don't work on the spiritual stuff.
What have been the topics for today?
Just this and that.
Sounds boring.
Okay. CyberLA super chatted me. Thank you so much, CyberLA. He says, a good sense of humor, looks, money, status are all forms of dominance, correct? I'm really working my first impression using humor and conversation.
Any of these cheapskates super chat you?
This guy, CyberLA, he just super chatted me.
You just tell him I super chatted you $500 today?
All right. Do you want to join the live, Dad? I think you want to join.
I could come in for a few questions.
Okay. All right, guys.
Back in a minute.
We got Beardo and. All right. Wait, can you close the bathroom door? Because it's kind of like a toilet is now in the background. All right. Thanks. So. All right, CyberLA. Maybe we can get Beardo to answer your question, but first of all, we have to define dominance. Okay. You can use it in a very general, abstract way, or you can use it in a specific way. Like it can mean dominance in the bedroom, okay, which is basically like BDSM. All right. There's like a certain set of like actions, and you can kind of creatively combine them, but it's pretty like if you're being a dom in the bedroom, you're picking and choosing off a menu of certain dominant things, you know? So humor, looks, money, and status, you could call that dominance in another way. You know what I'm saying? You could call that like very sexually desirable traits in the dating market. And is that correct? Yes. Sense of humor, looks, money, status. They are all ways that women will respect you, look up to you, and want to lock you down for a relationship. These are all things you can offer a woman, basically, that they are attracted to. So yes, you could call that a form of dominance. Do you know what I'm saying? That's one way they can kind of feel this guy I can respect, this guy I can admire, this guy I can look up to, and that can create the feeling of dominance and even make them feel more willing and desiring to submit in the bedroom and to feel a sense that you kind of are a dominant guy, even if you're not engaging in BDSM. So does that make sense? So that's my answer to your question, CyberLA. Thank you so much for your super chat. I really appreciate it. What do you think? So Vibor says, why just learn the female gaze? Learn the entire human gaze. Learning to recognize good people, bad people in general, scanning their entire psyche. Won't we auto-learn the female gaze? Yeah, I like that. I would love to learn the human gaze, but I think that, there's little pockets you can study, and if you're studying the whole human gaze, and one of those pockets is women and understanding the patterns in how women think. Okay, it doesn't apply to every single woman, but there are some large themes and patterns which can really help you in dating. So I like what you said, but I think there's a lot of benefits to understanding women. So all right. So I'm looking in the chat here. Where are we? Where are we? Ashir says, "Hey Victoria, I love your videos. I have a question. I sometimes find myself getting attached to women I date after first few dates, and then I get nervous and my behavior is clingy sometimes. Help." Well, Ashir, I have two thoughts. One, you could get like a dating consultation and you could show me the text and I could just say, okay, don't do this text in the future. Don't, this is how you need to think about it instead. So there's that, I could just make sure, I could just point out to you, these are the texts that women are going to be freaked out by or creeped out by or scared by or think are too clingy and too nervous. Then you could correct that in the future. But like ultimately, what would really cure it, in my opinion, is you understand dating well enough to know that you don't need to be needy, because if it doesn't go well with this woman, you can get another woman. Okay. Most guys are not at that level where they actually feel like I don't have to get all nervous and psyched up about this one because this is like my one chance or whatever. Most guys don't just feel like, oh, easy come, easy go. I have a sense of abundance and all this. But if you really understood dating at a deep level, you would be able to get to that point. Okay. So that would be like the ultimate goal. But in the short term, while you're still working on that, we could just correct a few things you're doing wrong. But I mean, it's understandable. It's very understandable that if you just feel like a lot's riding on this one woman or whatever, like how can you not get nervous and attached, especially if you really like her and you want to get serious with her, and it's natural, it's normal. I mean, I feel the same way, or I have at different points in my life, you know what I'm saying? So this is just completely natural and normal, but really getting confident in your skills will cure this, in my opinion. So hi, Drums. Okay.
Bunch of guys left. They don't want the Victoria and Beardo show. They want you all to themselves.
Peter says, "Oh, my great supporter, Peter. He always leaves super nice comments. Says, Victoria, your advice is so great, as well as being direct with your answer. Congratulations on your following." Thanks, Peter. William says, "She has concerns, thoughts, needs, wants. Dude, run." Okay, sarcasm, I think. Thoughtful, emotional women are great. They're like storms of varying magnitude that roll in, roll out, and then it's sunny again.
Speaking of which, guys, Victoria thinks that people don't like her.
What?
Can you believe that?
Oh, Jones, why are you telling them all my insecurities?
Because I think that they should know that you feel like people don't like you, because obviously you have thousands of people who love you.
I offend probably about 15 people per live.
You do?
Yeah, probably. So,
all right. Did anybody put up any Beardo questions?
Does anyone have any questions for Beardo? Guys, I was telling them earlier about his abusive boyfriend persona. So you could ask more questions about that.
Well, I guess that was perfect. Perfect way for me to end it, huh?
Yep.
I don't know how comfortable I feel about talking about that, though.
Oh, well, you felt pretty comfortable when you walked in here, but
Yeah, well, I guess, I mean, that was tame abusive boyfriend.
dude, what do you think about this one? A more feminine woman is attractive to a more masculine man. Do you agree?
No, not really.
Cyber says, we love Victoria. She is the only one who explains the female gaze and female brain. Oh, thanks, Cyber. Jellyfish says, I like you. People like you. You have 111K subscribers. Stop being silly. Thanks, Jellyfish.
Borderline misogynist, but okay.
I didn't want to be rude if he's trying to be nice, though. As a four says, how to be abusive boyfriend in a good way.
I think that's more of a question for you.
No, it's a question for you. I'm not abusive. He's the abusive.
How would you know that a woman wants you to play this abusive boyfriend role?
That's a question for you.
Oh, no, it's not.
Nanu says, oh, 111K subs feels unloved. I get it, though. There are haters from time to time. From time to time? I get like 1,000 haters a day. That's not from time to time. You can't let that carry more weight than it is worth.
That's right.
I'm getting so mad right now. Nestor says, a great safe word. Boring. That's funny. That's so cruel. Axner says, question for Beardo. What's the best way to slide into a girl's DM?
Not sure I'm really qualified to answer that one, but I'll think about it.
899 says, question to the man. My girlfriend told me she hates boring and steady, needs her emotions getting up and down. We've been dating for 4 months and she wants to see me every day. How to give her emotional roller coaster? I think this seems like a job for abusive boyfriend.
Sorry, I was still stuck on the sliding a girl's DMs. Here's what comes to mind immediately about this sliding a girl's DMs thing. Okay. What connection do you have with this person? Right? Like, think about this. Like, you might as well ask me, like, what's the best way to telemarketer, sell somebody, a phone plan or whatever, right? Like, it ain't easy because, like, you have no connection with this person. You have no relationship with this person. I'm not saying you particularly, but, like, this is what happens a lot is complete strangers slide into women's DMs and they're like, why didn't you respond? I must be ugly or something. I mean, if you're going after some attractive woman, she's got tons of strangers saying, I like Bob's all the time, right? So I would say the key to sliding into someone's DMs is to actually have some kind of in with that person where you're not just a stranger, possible weirdo on the internet who the woman has no real incentive to respond to. So that's what I would say off the top of my head. What was the other one that you were saying is a Beardo question?
She wants an emotional roller coaster. I guess she probably heard some guy saying that. Be like, oh, yeah, it sounds actually kind of fun. Yeah, give me that emotional roller coaster.
My girlfriend told me she hates boring and steady. My girlfriend told me she hates boring and steady. Needs her emotions getting up and down. We've been dating for 4 months, and she wants to see me every day. How to give her emotional roller coaster. Okay. So steady meaning like emotionally steady or like steady pace and like the penetration? Or?
She probably just wants some kind of excitement. She probably wants like a guy from a romance novel, and she's kind of just like, oh, I'm bored. Can't you just do something exciting for once? Like, can you be a little bit toxic and abusive or something, controlling, jealous, anything? Give me something.
I think I might be able to
all right
throw out some tips here.
All right.
the first one that works really good for me, or has worked really well for me, is, and I've mentioned this, I'm sure, before, but like while you're like, while you're in a state where you're maybe like making out or touching or whatever, right? When this is the appropriate time, I'm not saying just walk up to some stranger and do this, but at the appropriate time when you're like touching and kissing, whatever, just like run your hand across here. Don't do anything. Don't squeeze. Don't do anything. Just touch like that, right? And then move on, and see how she responds to your touch like that, right? If she kind of leans into it, if she kind of like, seems to like it, maybe even like gives a little moan, for in that kind of, state where you guys are like, kissing, touching, moaning, all that kind of stuff, that's a good sign, right? And then you can come back and, they always say to like put pressure like on the edges. I don't know if you can see that very well. Put pressure on the edges, never like right in the front. I'm just passing on what's been told to me, so that's what I do. And I mean, that's very good for some women. A lot of women like that. Some women don't, and that's okay too. I think pushing a woman that you are involved with up against the wall, very easy, very good, very romance novel kind of stuff. Doesn't have to be hard at all. I would say if you're in doubt, and you probably are for the first time, just do it gently. Doesn't have to be rough.
And protect the back of her. Put your hand behind her head so that her head doesn't bang against the wall.
Yeah, I don't really do that, but it sounds like a good idea. I usually just grab like both your shoulders, right, and then push you up against the wall like that. So you can do that actually very gently, or it feels gently to the guy. It might not feel that gentle to the woman being pushed up against the wall by someone much stronger than her. And if she likes it, you can seconds later push her right up against the wall again harder. If you feel like that was too soft and she wants it harder. So as with a lot of things, it's best to start slow, start gentle, start a little cautious, and you can easily ramp up. What else? What were we saying? Slow and steady and boring.
Yeah.
Oh, another great one. Throwing her onto the bed, or bending her over a couch, like the arm of the couch or whatever. A lot of good stuff can happen from there.
Yeah, that's a good one. Like I think
didn't we just do something like that today?
Okay. Shh.
You got to tell me what's off limits. I don't know what's off limits.
So I think like with this woman saying she wants an emotional roller coaster, she probably would be fine with you just being more dominant in bed. You don't need to get so deep and try to become like some kind of master seducer and constantly be pushing and pulling on her emotions. If you're just more dominant in bed, she'll like drop this whole emotional roller coaster thing. She probably just wants something more exciting than she's getting, basically.
Spanking is an easy. It doesn't have to be like come over here and bend over my knee. It doesn't. It's just like, just do it with no warning. I mean, of course, there's a little bit of risk that she won't like it and whatever, but you always start light and see how that goes, and you're not going to get in big trouble for giving a light slap on the butt of somebody who you're already involved with. But you can go as far as just like you're sitting on the couch and you pull her across your lap and start spanking her, or you're in bed and so there's a wide range of things you can do there.
Good advice to that.
Thanks. Oh.
Yeah.
Another easy one. Grab her by the back of her hair, right here. Right?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Don't have to pull. I mean, just holding it is a lot. So don't feel like you have to like jerk off or weave.
Yes, good one. Good job.
Really like light. You can start light anyway. Slaps in the face, or like pinch.
Oh, you're funny. So, guys, he just gave you pure gold. Good stuff. And you don't have to pay $1,000 for a course.
They should be paying $1,000.
All right. So, all right, guys. Any other questions for Beardo?
Guys, we spent a lot of time in Vegas. I was telling Victoria a long time ago she should have some kind of like retreat out here, or like you go as a group to like pick up women or stuff out here in Vegas.
Nestor says, stick hand in mouth, fish hook method. I would not do that starting out.
Victoria doesn't like that very much. But yeah, you can also like have her like suck your thumb and stuff.
Yes. Great advice, David. That was really good advice. And
Thanks.
Are you going to use any of that? And what was your name who asked that question? I'm trying to find you again, but are you going to use it? Because you should. So, and what did you guys think of Beardo's advice?
Oh,
Nani super chatted me. Thanks, Nani. He says, "What's up, Beardo?" And I'll definitely be part of that retreat.
yeah. Well, that's not going to happen because Victoria's not going to do it. That's why I'm putting it out there, because I want you guys to demand it, because I think it'd be a good idea.
Nestor says, "Beardo is a sensei." Thank you, sensei.
All right, here's another one. Okay,
Okay, here we go.
This is a fun one.
I'm scared.
Okay.
Uh-oh. What are you doing, dude? What
You
the?
just relax.
He's about to take out his...
No, I'm not.
Please, don't get
I'm
my
not taking out
channel
my
shut
dick.
down.
I'm not taking out my dick. Take out
What?
your belt.
Oh, okay.
Okay. You do it like really menacingly, right? Right?
Okay.
Can like make like the snapping sound. This belt's kind of old. Newer belts make a better sound because they're more flush. You can do that. You can fold it over like twice, and then you have a nice little like thing to like spank with and stuff. Right? You can use this, this part, right? Put that like over her head, right? And then you've got like a nice little leash. It's gonna put like, as long as you don't go crazy, it's gonna put like nice gentle pressure all around her neck instead of on one specific area, right? And then you got like this is the collar, this is the leash, and you don't have to feel weird about like pulling out some kind of sex toy. It's just your belt.
Good one. Yep.
I might have way too many tips on this kind of thing.
Why?
I'm just like shocking myself with how many like abusive boyfriend tips I have.
No, like this is really great stuff. This should be a killer video. What else? Nestor says, Beardo about to pull a Louis C.K. on us.
I don't know what that means.
Remember, he got me too because he like took out his dick and he started masturbating in front of like a bunch of women.
Yeah, no, I wasn't gonna do that.
Cyberella says, "Is that a leather belt?"
Is it?
On my non-leather life, I bought him a non-leather belt for his birthday this year, but
You did?
he has his
Where is
old
it?
leather belt that he still uses. Remember? I bought it for you.
Jealousy can be good. Like, see, there's like the bad jealousy where you like restrict her, or like you act all like insecure. You basically are like the needy one because you're jealous. The good kind of jealous is you make her feel like desired, and you're jealous. And it's like, you're mine. Like, I don't want you going out looking like that. Like.
Elaborate on that, dude. That's great stuff.
Well, so when I said I don't want you going out looking like that, they're like you're kind of playing a role. You're kind of like teasing or like not really joking, but like you're not gonna actually try and stop her from going out, right? That's the bad kind of jealousy. But if you're like, like you can't go out like that, like all the guys are gonna be all over you, but you still let her go out, like that's the good kind of jealousy. If you're like, she's like talking to a friend or whatever, or even just emailing somebody or whatever, and you're just like, is that guy better than me, huh? Better than me. And then you kind of like force her into this thing where she says, no, like you're the best. Like, I'm not even attracted to that guy.
Yep. Good one, David.
I have astounding numbers of these.
So do you actually get jealous, or do you just pretend to be jealous for humor and entertainment?
Sure, you get jealous, but you amp it up, you lean into it in the good way and you try to minimize the bad way,
Very good. Great stuff, dude. So good. So, all right, guys. What did you guys think of that advice? That was pretty good. All right, that's gold. No one's going to tell you that, all right? No one wants to tell you that.
We're probably going to get canceled.
We're going to get canceled for sure for that. But what you guys...
Here's a question for you, Victoria.
Okay.
Why are abusive boyfriends wanted?
Okay.
Or I guess Nestor's trying to answer his own question.
Okay.
Because most men are weak. Strong men are rare. Women will take them in any form they, quote, strong men, end quote, come in. The ideal, of course, is the strong, noble warrior archetype. What do you have to say about that?
So, good thoughts, Nestor. I agree. I mean, I would give like a different take on it, but I mean, there's definitely something to what you're saying.
Victoria often says it's kind of like the lion at the zoo.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's fun and it's entertaining. Okay? Like, it's fun because it's like, if he acts like that, then I get to act like feminine. So it's kind of like gender euphoria in a way. Do you know what I'm saying? Like how people have like gender dysphoria and gender euphoria. It's like when you get to kind of like be who you're supposed to be, like women are supposed to be like feminine, weak, passive, whatever. It's kind of fun. It's like he's acting so strong, so now you get to act so weak. And, deep down, is it kind of like tapping on something deep within you? Maybe, yeah, because it's like women in this world, it's like we're kind of trying to prove ourselves to men or something. And it's like, for a second, you don't have to. You can just do things you're naturally good at and guys are naturally like obsessed with and go weak at the knees for. So it's kind of like playing to your strengths in a way. And it feels fun. It feels entertaining. It feels relaxing. It feels thrilling. And it just kind of comes naturally and it's easy. And you just kind of feel like, now I got power over him too. Because, he likes it too. He likes the whole role play too.
Smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Share with your friends. There's not nearly enough likes on this live.
Thanks, Dad.
I mean, if you look at like romance novels and stuff, there's a lot of abusive boyfriend stuff,
Yeah.
But Victoria doesn't like it when I get actually mad.
No. I don't like that. I get really mad when he gets actually mad. But if he's faking mad, I enjoy it. But if he's actually angry at me, I'm like, oh, Why?
Anurag Shama. Hey, Beardo, how are you, man? Doing great, bud. Lucky in life for sure.
And another thing that's good about it is, like Dave was saying, the line at the zoo. It's like women, they're scared of men, right? But it's kind of like this fear that's always like simmering under the surface. Okay. So it's almost like this uneasiness. But then when you see a guy actually be like scary, it's kind of like, okay, now I got you pegged. I don't know. It just kind of feels like now I'm actually seeing what he's capable of. So it feels kind of good too. So Nani says, Beardo, what is your next video going to be about? I subscribed to your channel. Can't wait for the next vid.
Yeah. Well, Victoria and I have to work that out, and it won't be until at least August. Because I value our relationship more than I value the Beardo Speaks channel. So I want to make sure that we're on the same page with that stuff.
Okay. All right. David says he wishes the two of us happiness.
Thank you.
Thanks. So, all right. Any other? Floyd Runner says, we all appreciate you, Victoria. Thank you, Floyd Runners. Cyber Relay says, what does Beardo think of Sterling Cooper?
Almost nothing. I barely know who he is. I know Victoria interviewed him. That's about all I know about him.
Did you watch my interview with him?
I don't think so.
So 3D Rap says, Victoria, build up of comfortability, comfort,
Your least favorite word.
and pureness when we would run into each other increased natural, but ultimately told me she has a boyfriend. It's like she feels same things I do, but can't help. I couldn't fully understand everything. 3D Rap. Okay. All right. I'm looking through to see if we missed any questions.
I don't know. The attendance seemed to really drop down when I joined.
Well, they're stupid because you're giving some great advice.
Yeah.
Maybe it was too much for them. Anonymous says, he had you on edge last time about giving the wildest I'm not racist butt drop. This time on edge over him whipping it out. Seems like you really just don't trust Beardo with the channel. Very perceptive, Anonymous. Well, I didn't know what he was doing, and he was taking off his belt. I'm like, my whole channel could get shut down. But
You might even say she's very controlling.
that's what he told me after the last live. But am I controlling in general, though, dude?
No.
See, you make it sound like that. All right. So, Nani wants a pop quiz. All right. I got a pop quiz for you guys that I didn't show you last time, even though it was pretty good. So I'm going to show it to you this time, guys. All right. So, Beardo, hit it.
What am I supposed to do? Entertain?
Entertain them. Pop quiz time, everybody.
You do these lives awfully late on weekdays. Might not have anything to do with Beardo attendance drop. Yeah, that's true.
Good point.
We're on Pacific time now.
Good night, William Driscoll. Thanks for joining. Nestor says, how do you feel about sex magic / sex rituals?
I don't have any idea what that is.
I like the idea of it, but I don't believe in it.
Central Time represent.
All right.
Wow.
What?
This is kind of a tough question.
What is it?
How can a man who was cheated on heal emotionally and constructively learn from the experience while also ensuring that he doesn't carry mistrust or resentment into future relationships?
That's more a question for you.
Go ahead, Victoria.
That's
can
a
take
question
this
for
one.
this guy.
I don't mean to laugh, Ken. I mean, obviously it's
I never
serious,
been
but
cheated on. Oh wait, maybe. Dan, are you gonna answer that?
I don't know, man. That's a tough one.
Ilya says, "What advice do you have for demisexual men?"
This question keeps asking over and over again. My advice for you is if you want your question answered, super chat.
Well, the problem is, Ilya, I'm not demisexual. I'm hypersexual, and he's hypersexual too. So we might not be the best people to answer the demisexual question. But I am in a Facebook group for demisexual people, so you might get some better advice in that Facebook group, or maybe you have like a Reddit group or whatever.
He says, "Nah, I'm out. I offended him."
Ah, great, David. You offended one of the greatest people to ever join this live.
Is he?
All right. So are you guys ready for the quiz?
Is he great?
Yeah, he's great. I'm sure he's great.
All right. You're sure he's great?
Ilya says he's so mean. Oh no. Be nice, dude. I'm the only one who's allowed to be mean on my live. So these are jokes. All right. We good. So all right, David, it's time for a quiz.
Oh, Ilya says jokes.
Yeah, that's what I just said. So only Divergent says, how do you know you're hypersexual? How often do you want to have sex? And how often do you masturbate? That's basically how you know. If it's excessive, if it's a crazy amount, then you're hypersexual. If you never want to do it, you're asexual. If you barely want to do it, you're gray sexual. And if you want to do it the average amount, you're just average sexual, probably.
Exeter, how to regain confidence after being rejected. Just understand it's not that big a deal. You get rejected all the time. Have you ever taken a sales course or even just find a podcast or a online course about sales? It's the sales funnel. You got the people that you're cold calling at the beginning, and then you got people you have somewhat of a relationship with, and then you have people who are interested, and then you finally narrow it down into the people who actually buy from you, and that's maybe it's a bit too long-winded an explanation, but that's how it is with being rejected. You got to put yourself in the best situation to make your odds good, but also it's a lot of a numbers game, and you're going to get rejected a lot, and that's okay.
All right, are you guys ready for the quiz?
I'm ready.
All right, Beardo, you gonna get quizzed again?
Okay.
All right, everybody, get your dunce caps on and get ready for our midterm exam. Okay? So get ready for this question, all right? And guess what?
Put on your dunce caps, put your pencils down.
It's we're going to math quiz. Maths, as they say, in the UK and perhaps other countries. So, guys, all right. Nani says he's at work, so if I don't respond to the quiz, then but I'm listening. All right. Nestor says he should ace this. He's Asiatic.
People came back. Did they somehow hear the quiz?
I don't know, dude.
Word spread among the manosphere. Victoria is about to give a quiz.
Yeah. All right, guys. It's math. And guess what? It's not boy math this time. It's girl math.
Smash that like button.
Smash the like button. And smash this quiz. Or else you're blocked. That's it. Everybody who fails this quiz is blocked forever. You will never join a live again. I'm kidding, guys. All right, guys. Here is your quiz. Girl math. All right. You guys know what girl math is, right? Explain this and explain your reasoning and show your work. Girl math. Saying you are stronger than him just as an excuse to get pinned down. Explain the math, explain the reasoning, explain the logic. Go. You got 30 seconds. That's it, or you're blocked.
Pretty good quiz based on what we already talked about today, huh?
Yeah, it is.
Kind of like a quiz on the subject matter already covered.
It is.
Those are the best quizzes, I guess, right?
I guess so. Yeah, it's a pop quiz from what you should know the answer by now. And if you don't, that's not my problem. All right, guys. One more time, the math question in question. Girl math. Saying you are stronger than him just as an excuse to get pinned down. Make it make sense.
Who's posting this?
Mathematically speaking. I don't know. I just saw it randomly.
Is it like a woman?
Yeah, probably.
Or is it a guy criticizing women?
It's probably a woman. This is too peak female gaze for this to be a man. All right. Most men are like, what? They probably don't understand this. We'll see if my followers are any different or you're just pathetic excuses for men who don't understand math. All right. Girl math. Saying you're stronger than him just as an excuse to get pinned down. All right, guys. Get in your answers.
Just this month, he challenged me to an arm wrestling contest.
Yeah. What's your point?
Sounds kind of like this.
What do you mean? How is this like an arm wrestling contest? How's that?
Because you're insinuating that you might be able to beat me in the arm wrestling contest.
Okay. What does that have to do with my quiz?
Because then that gave you an excuse.
Oh, you're answering my quiz right now?
I'm relating something that happened to us, between us, to your quiz.
So, David, are you going to give the answer to the quiz first before we... Are you going to explain the girl math here?
If you like.
Yeah. Let's test you.
Okay.
All right, guys. Have everyone got their answers in? I don't see too many answers, but I do see some. So, all right. Get them in. All right. You got 5 more seconds before Beard answers. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're done. All right. Beardo?
Yeah.
What is your answer? What is your mathematical...
What is the question?
The question is, what is the mathematical logic behind the girl math in this question? Which is saying you are stronger than him just as an excuse to get pinned down.
Mm-hmm.
Make it make sense.
You're like provoking the guy. You're kind of like challenging him. It reminds me a lot of like nature, where like we'll see female bobcats and whatever, like, smack the male bobcat and give him, induce him into like pinning the female bobcat down, right? And so not all the time, not all women, not every situation, but like broadly speaking, hetero women like masculinity. And so like this, one of the main differences between men and women is men's physical strength. And so, if they get a chance to experience the man's physical strength, they're experiencing his masculinity, and helps them feel their femininity and all that kind of stuff. So, and even like you could tie it to like evolutionary psychology, and you could tie it to things like, I want somebody who, if there's trouble, is like strong enough to defend me, some logical, reasonable things. But I think it's really not even so much like conscious reasoned out things. It's just like there's something in us that like wants to experience those roles, and this is the woman kind of like provoking the man to fill that strong masculine role.
All right, David, final answer?
Yeah, I think it's good.
A plus.
Oh, A plus. Okay. I didn't feel like I really did an A plus, but
Very good.
I was never good at like essays in school. I was pretty good at almost everything in school, but not writing essays.
That's because you don't do the
had,
topic
like,
sentence well.
B level.
You don't know about the topic sentence.
Yeah.
So, but no, that was very good, dude. Very good. Now let's go to the chat. And guess what, guys? Watch out. Get nervous because we've got a genuine female in the chat, Lisa Pellet. All right. So I don't know if you were there, Lisa, for the quiz. We'll just repeat it one more time and you can give us your opinion as well. We're explaining the math behind this girl math, which is saying you are stronger than him just as an excuse to get pinned down. Explain that.
Lisa probably missed all the abusive boyfriend demonstrations I was giving.
You did, Lisa, but we would have been interested in your take on that for sure. So let's read your answers in the chat. All right, let's see what they are. So Faint Joey says, starting playful conflict to get proven wrong. Yes, Faint Joey, but I'm hoping for something a little bit deeper, but I'll give you a B- for that. John Bauer, it's begging the answer, like 1 + 1 = 2. I'm not sure I'm following 1 + 1 = 2, sadly. Floyd Runner says, no words, just pin her down, full body weight. You can use words, Floyd Runners. You can definitely use words. Never underestimate the dirty talk. Only Divergence says, women want to be pinned down but cannot say it for fear is shaming, so she says she's stronger so that you will show she is wrong. There's definitely some truth to that. I'm going to give you a B, Only Divergence says, yeah. Evan Wells 1 says, you could call it a controlling from the bottom move, like topping from the bottom. But yeah, I mean, either way, she gets to be sassy while also fulfilling a desired outcome. I will also give that a B, Evan Wells, because there's definitely some truth in that. So Silver Class says 1 + 1 = 3, and I believe that's a baby in there. Good one. Anonymous says bratty bottom behavior. Very true. I'm going to give you a B+ for that because that's true, but I wanted some more mathematical explanations of it. Floyd Runner says hands pinned above her head with one hand, reaching for the belt. I'm going to give you an A- for that, even though you didn't explain your work, Floyd Runners. Ken says the behavior is manipulative or insecure, aiming to weaken the other person's self-esteem or position. Ken, I'm going to give you an F for that, okay? Because this is classic male blind spot. And that's exactly why I'm bringing up this girl math so you guys understand and you don't think this is the reason, okay? So John says answer 2. The woman is taunting him to also arouse his ego. The ego, pride, and sense of self is where our power is. By challenging it, you wake up the lion, so to speak, and you get the claws. John, I'm actually going to give that answer an A+.
That sounded better than my answer.
It was very good, John. That's exactly how it feels from the female perspective. That's what I used to do to David. I would try to just provoke him and kind of trigger his ego, and that's exactly it. Because I figured by triggering his ego, I'm really going to get him. Like, I'm really going to trigger him. I'm really going to get him where it hurts, and then he will be forced against his will, basically, to show me his real claws, as you put it. Truly an A+ answer, John. Well done. So 899 says why she wants this. She wants to know if you're the type of man who can handle her. She wants to feel safe. She gets turned on by you dominating her and being bossy equals an excuse to get him to prove her wrong. So I was loving it, 899, except for this last part, which I didn't fully understand. An excuse to get him to prove her wrong. Oh, I see. Like, yeah, okay. She wants to know you're the type of man who can handle her. She wants to feel safe. Yes, everything is correct. I'm giving you an A, 899. Very good. Maxima says, how when average women like me, automatically high value women see me interesting? Okay. All right. So Silver Class says, is she an MMA fighter? No, she's not. This is like your average everyday woman. Floyd Runner says, domination provocation. Yep. I'm giving you a B plus for that because you didn't explain the math, but you did get there. Rob the Barbarian says she's asking to be physically dominated. I'm actually going to give you an A plus for that, Rob the Barbarian, because it's simple, it's elegant, and it's true. So Nestor says women don't want to get to be told they're inferior outright. They want to be shown it. By inferior, if you mean physically weaker, yes. And I'm going to give you an A for that, Nestor. So very good, guys. Very
Oh, you're
impressive.
gonna give him an A despite like bordering on misogyny there, huh?
Yeah, because I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt and trying to define inferior as inferior in strength. So Yuven says, can a woman fall in love with a guy with playful banter but playfully annoying them but leaving the interaction at its peak emotional state? Possibly, yeah. All right, guys. Very, very good. Castle Soul says they like poking a large animal to see their power and what they want. Seems like that. Yes, I'm going to give you an A plus, Castle Soul, as well.
I was thinking about that too, but since we'd already covered it, I didn't go into that one.
Floyd Runner says girl math with words is let's make a baby. Possibly Floyd Runners, yes. John Bauer says exist F an example off from the set of real woman who just wants her boyfriend to wrestle her a little. QED. So I couldn't really read this, John. Exist. You're going to have to rephrase that, John. Because I wasn't able to understand your proof. All right, guys. Excellent job on that quiz. All right. Now, I'll give my answer. All right. And I will tell you, it all comes back to the alpha submissive kink. Okay. In my opinion. The alpha submissive kink, like I was telling you guys earlier, it is very central, is very core to female sexuality. Okay. And that is basically you want to be strong to challenge the guy to see if he can be stronger. That's hot. So that's what I think it comes down to. Wonderful work on your quiz, guys. I underestimated all of you. I was about to block you all, but you're still here. And you're still wearing your dunce caps. But maybe in a few days you might get to take them off. All right, guys, good work. Only Divergence is asked, how do you respond when a man who you are not dating acts in a dominant way? Does your hypersexuality trump your loyalty? David, what do you think?
Not yet.
Good one, guys. So Yuven says, why do women pretend to be disgusted when you're flirting with them, but they interact with it instead of ignoring the conversation if they really were disgusted? Okay. Well, yes, Yuven, it's a good question. So it's just like, why do they pretend to be like disgusted and offended? It's banter. That's a flirtation. And it's from the woman's perspective, it's like, it's pushing back. It's challenging. And then it's like, how are you going to handle that? How are you going to, rise above that? I'm giving you an obstacle. Can you get around the obstacle? If you can, then you're strong. Then you're a real man. Then you're worth it. Then you actually can jump over the obstacles. Unlike the other guys who are tripped up by the obstacles and they're like, women test me. Why do women test men? I wish a woman could just be nice and easy and like jump on my dick. I wish a woman could just, give me receptive. I wish she could just push her boobs in my face and I squeeze them and there's no problem here. So that's the opposite of what women want. Like I was telling you guys earlier about like porn and everything. Women don't like that idea. They want to challenge you and they want you to prove yourself to them.
So you call that a shit test?
I don't call it a shit test because that's guys' interpretation of what it is. That's how guys see it, but that's not how it feels to a woman. They're not. I don't like the term shit test, but I mean that's how guys see it. But women see it as, are you a worthy opponent? Are you a worthy sparring opponent for me? If not, I'm sorry, you can go. You know what I'm saying?
Is that what guys call a shit test though?
Guys call a shit test basically any time a woman doesn't act like insanely feminine in the way they expect. That's a shit test to them. Like, I'm serious. I watched this pickup artist. You guys sent me this pickup artist video, and he was doing a commentary on this, cold approach. And he literally stopped the video every second to be like, as you can see, she's shit testing me here. And she literally was just like bantering with him.
Yeah.
And he was so threatened by it. And he was like, many guys would be like, I'm extremely thrown off by this, guys, but like, you have to just come back. And I'm like, she's not shit testing you, bro. She's talking to you normally. But their self-esteem is so low and so weak that, it comes as like it's hurtful because they can't, they're not like secure enough to take it, basically.
See, I'd never heard this shit test term until a year or two ago through your channel. And that's what I would say. I would say it's like banter. It's flirting.
It's flirting, but they call that a shit test.
It's teasing.
Floyd Runner says having a 70-inch TV and only a bed, and the only bed is a mattress on the floor. Boy math. So true. If it wasn't for me, that would be like you, David.
Yeah.
That's boy math for sure. Hey, Dark Trap Studio, welcome to a class. Welcome back to school. Phoenix, are you a woman, Phoenix? She says it's a maiden call for the worthy, not a test. I like that. I'm giving you A+ for that, Phoenix. And I'm thinking you must be a woman because only a woman says something like that. So, Floyd Runners gives another great boy math. Boy math is thinking her answer to did you come is yes. That's powerful, Floyd Runners. Phoenix says, yes, I am. Lol, amazing, Phoenix. How did I know? Girl math. I don't know if that would count as girl math, but yes, very good. Give us your opinion, Phoenix. And have you heard of the term shit test that guys use? And what do you think of it? I loved your answer. So it's exactly that. And how did you find my channel as well?
Let me ask you this, Victoria.
Okay.
If you go back to a guy's place,
Yeah.
and it's like that,
Yeah.
is that a big turnoff?
No.
And answer for me 2 situations. 1, you're just kind of like looking to hook up, or 2, you think they're like, you're this is a prospective boyfriend.
Okay.
Or for women, is it always the same?
Phoenix, let's get your take on this as well. And Lisa, if you're here as well. But for me,
Because I've been in this situation.
like, you only had a mattress.
Yeah.
I
didn't even have a TV. I had a mattress and a computer, and I had to sit on the mattress to use the computer because I didn't even have a desk.
For me, if I was trying to hook up with a guy, it would not be a turnoff because I expect this from guys. I'm like, being a guy, basically, like he, has a cardboard box for a table. You're usually selecting the guy for reasons other than he's great at interior design, so you don't care. But then if I was thinking, oh, like everything's going so well, I'm really into this guy, but he only has a mattress. I probably wouldn't care because I'd be like, well, I got a nice bedside table I can bring in here, but I kind of expect it. It's kind of like the bar is in hell for interior design for men, so it doesn't shock me or anything. But Lisa says yes, it's a turnoff either way. It's good we have Lisa's perspective here because I know I'm not every woman in this respect because these things are less important to me than it might be for others.
For sure.
She said, lol, but I'd like to know if he can afford at least the basics in life. Yeah, good point. Yeah. We got another woman's perspective here. Lisa, thank you for that, Lisa. So Phoenix says, no, I haven't, but I understand why it's frustrating to men, and I'm kinky. I love your channel's perspective on biological attraction. Sometimes when people say they want isn't what they truly desire. Mm-hmm. No comment, Phoenix. Amazing. So, all right, guys, should we go to quiz number 2?
You have another quiz lined up?
Yeah. All right. All right, guys, here's my next quiz. Is this conversation, is the man's participation in this texting conversation good or bad? Was his response to being rejected good or bad? Okay.
And why?
And why? Get your caps on. All right.
Get your dunce caps on, put your pencils away, and get ready to write the answer down.
I think like a dunce cap, I'll be honest, it's kind of like kinky. I think probably for a lot of people. But like
And that's how you know you're hypersexual.
I'll be honest, I actually used to have fantasies when I was younger about a dunce cap. So maybe that's why the dunce cap is like that's pretty stupid. It's probably like
Were you wearing the dunce cap in the fantasies? Or was somebody else?
I think I just like read about it. I'm like, that's hot. I don't know. It's just very degrading. So I don't know.
So the guy puts a dunce cap on
It
you.
wasn't so fleshed out because like my fantasies when I was younger, you know, I couldn't really envision myself in them totally yet because like, yeah. But anyway, I haven't fantasized that in a long time. That was like way back when. All right, so let's get on to the quiz. Sorry about that, guys. TMI from your teacher, but okay. So this is the conversation. The guy goes, "Want to hang out again?" The girl goes, "I liked hanging, but I still just have no energy to date right now, to be honest." He goes, "Heartbreaking." She goes,
From the first text. No, fine. Go ahead. Go ahead. I won't jump in.
okay. She goes, "I know, I'm sorry. I can't help it. Obsessed with being alone right now." He goes, "It's okay. I get it. You're just so funny and so hot. I got excited." Okay. Do you guys need me to read it one more time?
Yes.
One more time, guys.
Yes.
All right. Good or bad on the guy's part? He's getting rejected. Or is he? Good or bad and why? All right. Here we go. The guy goes, "Want to hang out again?" The girl goes, "I liked hanging, but I still just have no energy to date right now, to be honest." He goes, "Heartbreaking." She goes, "I know, I'm sorry. I can't help it. Obsessed with being alone right now." He goes, "It's okay. I get it. You're just so funny and so hot. I got excited." All right. Wait. This is not working well, but if you guys can see this. Want to hang out again? I liked hanging, but I still just have no energy to date right now. Heartbreaking. I know, I'm sorry. I can't help it. Obsessed with being alone right now. It's okay. I get it. You're just so funny and so hot. I got excited. Notice how he's writing it like no caps and everything. Good or bad? Did the girl like it? Did the girl not like it? Was the girl like block? Wait, Dad, you can't look at this because there's.
I can't look.
Don't. Okay. Because there's a commentary on it, but you can look at
It's
it.
like don't scroll back or anything.
Yeah. All right, guys, get your answers in, or you will fail. Alrighty, guys, get them in, get them in. Oh, Nestor, wow. You truly are. You truly are good in school. He transcribed the whole conversation. Wonderful. Thank you, Nestor. So, Beardo,
Ready for me?
I am ready to test your skills, your knowledge, and to humiliate you if you fail. All right, guys, let's see how he does, and let's all laugh if he does badly.
All right. Can I get in the camera? I'm always like.
Okay.
Okay, so my first issue was I liked, or you want to hang out again.
Okay.
I don't like that because it's like, when back in the day, I don't ask women to hang out, right? I invite women to take them out on a date or do something that they would enjoy. I invite them to an experience that I'm going to be, playing the masculine role in most of the ways. So I don't like that, but as it went on, I thought maybe actually, I changed my mind. Let's say, okay. So she says, I liked hanging out, but I have no energy to date right now. Okay. And I guess that's pretty much what changed my mind right there, is that he knows she's saying like, oh, I can't date. I don't have enough energy to date. Maybe she's gone through a breakup. Maybe she's busy at work or whatever. And so he's just kind of like, what do we used to call this? Like a weasel date. We used to call it, where like, instead of like asking a person out on a date and planning and everything, you just kind of like show up to wherever the person is and like kind of like do something impromptu afterwards,
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like he's kind of like weaseling into like hangout dates because she's like saying I can't date right now.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the case, I respect that and I like it. Okay. So he says heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Now, Victoria, this is a guy showing his emotions and being weak. So then the woman will disrespect him because women hate weak men.
Final answer?
No. I totally disagree because women want men to be weak just for them, right? Women want to be a guy's weak spot, his Achilles heel, the person he can't say no to or whatever.
Okay.
So he is heartbroken because she is turning him down. That's good.
Okay.
In my opinion. So she says, I know I'm sorry. I can't help it. Obsessed with being alone right now. He says, it's okay. I get it. You're just so funny and so hot. I got excited. Beautiful. I love it.
You love it?
I love it.
Really?
Love it.
You love it?
Of course.
You're serious right now?
Well, I use this excuse with you all the time.
What do you mean?
You're just so funny and hot, and I just got excited. I got to.
And so you're saying this is actually good?
Oh yeah.
What? Okay, you ready for your final judgment?
Well, hold on. What women post about much more frequently is guys will go, oh, well, you're fat. I didn't want to go out with you anyway.
Yes.
Okay,
the old Schrodinger's woman.
That's weak. That's being heartbroken in a bad way.
Okay.
Right? You're showing that you're hurt. Oh, I'm so hurt, and I'm gonna lash out.
Okay.
Okay, that's weak.
Okay.
But it's weak in like the worst way because you're kind of like being strong and abusive, but weak at the same time. It's weird. So another way to be weak that's not good is to be like, oh, she rejected me. And I understand that, you have your emotions about that stuff, and I don't want to make fun of you, but I'm just saying, like, it's not good to be like, oh, I'm not attracted to you anymore because like you turned me down. No, it's attractive to be like, oh, you turned me down. That sucks because I really like you. I really want to be with you. And that's why it hurts me. And it's okay to be, it's good to be weak in that way. Kind of like we were talking about with jealousy, you have like kind of good jealousy and bad jealousy.
So, David, is that your final answer?
Yes.
You're going with this is amazing?
Amazing is a little strong, but I like it.
You like it?
Oh yeah, I definitely give him top, good marks.
All right, you ready for your judgment? You ready for your grade?
Yeah.
Okay, this is one of the one times you totally crushed it. Very good. A+. Good job, dude. Did I throw you off by...
Not at all.
I was trying to use my Hollywooding to throw you off and make you think you weren't going to get an A+. All right, guys. What did you think of Beardo's answer? For the two ladies, or rather, should I say females, in the chat, Lisa and Phoenix, if you're still here, what do you guys think of Beardo's answer? And what's your take? All right. And now I will read what everyone else said, okay, and see if you guys failed. So I thought that was a great example, first of all, because like Beardo was explaining to you very well, in my opinion, this is a good example of how to take rejection well, in my opinion. Yes, like he said, worst case scenario. Well, you're fat anyway, and I'm a high value man, and there's many women who are interested in me. Like we had that guy from the last quiz, if you happen to be there for it. Good rejection. Oh, sorry, you're just so hot and funny, and I got excited. Okay? Very good. So, Floyd runners, and actually this is a good one for even an in-person rejection. If you like cold approach someone, obviously you don't really know she's like funny yet, but and you probably wouldn't want to say, well, it depends on how long your conversation was, so I'll take that back for now. So anyway, Floyd Runner says, I would have picked a place and suggested a time. Yes, generally very good advice. Aidenil says, I'm leaning towards good. You get high marks for that then, Aidenil. Lisa says, it's kind of cute, but I think it would be better if he asked her on a date instead of hanging out. Right out of the horse's mouth. And by a horse, I mean a female. If she has no energy, he should take care of all the details and make it sound fun. Yes, Lisa, I agree with you. A+ for you. Nestor says, it's not that bad. Could be better, but girl probably felt flattered. I'm going to give you a B+ because I think that it was very good. So I guess I disagree that it wasn't that bad because I thought it was actually very, very good. So Floyd Runner says friend zone maybe at best. Dark Trap says want to hang out again. I would say it's not a dominant line energy move like dog asking to go on a walk. So anyway, Evan Wells wants to say, I don't think it's the worst, but if a girl told me that, I would have instead say okay and left it alone. Well, Evan Wells 1, I hate to do it to you, but I'm giving you an F. Okay is no good. Okay, it's fine. It's neutral. It's actually bad in a way because it's like no one likes to receive an okay in text. You know what I mean? This guy actually turned something that was, bad and made it actually good, made the girl have more chance of asking him out in the future. And actually, the girl who posted this in a group actually said, which is why I didn't want Beardo to look at the full text, she said something like, most respectable response I've ever received, and now I am reconsidering. Okay, so the girl who got this really liked it, and she even said she is reconsidering based on how the guy responded. All right. So that's turning a negative into a positive. So A9 says, bad for the guy. He sounds desperate. He should have been more direct instead of want to hang out again. Yeah, I mean, that first line, I agree, it's not, the strongest, but like David said, perhaps he kind of had his reasons for that. Only Divergence says she's rejecting him, but she doesn't want to tell him it's him to avoid messiness, so she says she's obsessed with being alone. Lol, she's obsessed with being alone from him. You're probably right, Only Divergences, but by his response, he made himself seem higher value, and he didn't have to say, I am high value, to make himself seem higher value. Do you know what I'm saying? So Rob the Barbarian said, bad on his part, seemed desperate and pedestalizing her. Well, I think you guys need to re-listen to what Beardo said about that, because he explained that very well. John Bauer says, nah, it doesn't work too well. Need to be cockier. Tell her about the date that will get her energy up. Well, this is why this is a good example for you guys. Axoner says, bad first text, kind of dry. Good reaction to rejection, wasn't bitter and was lighthearted about it. Yes, Axoner, I agree. Sharky says, I'm not sure, honestly, but I would say she's not interested, and he's making himself seem like he's way more into her than she is him. To my understanding, to women, this is a turnoff to add on top of it. Well, Sharky, consider yourself schooled then. Only Divergence says, no woman is too busy for the right man. Yes, but this attitude is not good. So, Dark Trap Studio says, is that good or not?
Let me address that real quick.
Okay.
No woman is too busy for the right man.
I
largely agree. Okay. Like,
yeah.
if you're like going after somebody and she's like very lukewarm towards,
Okay.
I would say like focus too much attention on that person, right? Unless like this is like really like your number one person in the whole world that you really want to be with. But even then, like there was this period, like Victoria and I met over a weekend in Vegas, and then like she went back to New York City, and I was like trying to get with her again for like 4 months, and she was kind of like pushing me away. And but I really believed that like this was the one person I wanted to be with. So I kind of like kept after her. I gave her space when I felt like she wanted space. If I texted her and she didn't text me back, I would wait, a day or two, and then text her again, something completely different. So if it's really who you want, like, don't give up. Okay. But if it's just like one woman out of like hundreds, then I agree. Like, there's no point in like continuing to invest energy in somebody who doesn't seem that interested in you, if you're not even that interested in them either, right? So I think there's plenty to be said on both sides of that issue.
All right. So, great points, Jumps. David, I mean, I sometimes call him Jumps, but anyway, guys, Lisa has a good point, and David, this is bonus question for you, and if you fail this, we're done. We're breaking up. Just kidding. Okay, so he goes, Lisa says, I agree about the how to take rejection part, but I actually don't think it was a full rejection of the guy. Makes it not cost her, if it might not cost her much energy, she might go out again. Agree or disagree? Do we agree with what Lisa's saying? Is this a full rejection? Is she really like what who was just saying the thing that David was answering? Is she really
Sharky.
Not interested, and she's just like making up some excuse because she just doesn't like the guy, and she's saying, I'm obsessed with being alone right now because she's obsessed with not being with him, like he said, right? Or is the door slightly cracked, and could he actually make something of this? Beardo, what's your take?
Yeah, the door's definitely cracked.
The door's cracked?
Absolutely.
What? Guys, can you believe this? That's what he's actually saying this isn't a full rejection. But men are the prize, and she just disrespected him. What's your take?
Well, didn't I just answer it? Like, it's okay to be like, she's not that interested. I'm going to focus on other women. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
But if you're really interested, if you really want to go after this person, this woman, then yeah, just you don't have to take like these soft rejections as defeat. You can keep trying to, get her to go out with you and whatever.
A+.
I saw somebody said
Good
you
job.
don't ask a girl want to
Good
hang out
point,
again.
Lisa. Good point, Lisa.
I agreed with.
Yes, I agreed with that too.
Angelo.
Yes, Angelo. Yes, I agree. In general, you don't want to say that, but there's an exception to every rule. But yes.
I think I gotta get ready for bed.
All right, guys. Well, quiz is over, guys. You did fantastic on the quiz tonight, and I hope you learned something. And I hope that wasn't to be toxic and abusive like Beardo was demonstrating earlier, not in the quiz. Just kidding. I hope you did learn it. All right, guys. But of course, it's consensual. It's for entertainment. It's for pleasure. It's not actually abusive. It's completely different. All right. It's just entertainment. It's role playing. It's fun. It's lighthearted. It's acting. It's different than actually trying to actually get angry at someone, actually hurt someone, actually cause someone pain, actually do something, to control them, to coerce them. Completely different. But anyway, guys, acting is okay as long as the other person enjoys and it consents to the play.
I feel like that could be said about like dominance in general.
What do you mean?
Well, like the people who are like, oh, I want to be dominant. I want to be dominant. I want to be with somebody submissive. They think that being dominant means that, like, you're forcing somebody to do something she doesn't want to do.
Right.
I mean, like, that's not really being dominant, as we talk about, like, in the kink community. That's being abusive. That's being an asshole. That's being, manipulative. That's being a slave owner,
Mm-hmm.
The truth is, the dominant person is doing all the work for the most part. And for the most part is being dominant to take the submissive where she wants to go, he or she. Anyway.
Yes. Great point, dude.
I mean, like, who wants to be dominated into doing something they don't want to do? Right? I mean, like, that's a job, right? Hopefully you're getting paid, right? To be dominated in doing something you don't want to do.
Yes.
Yeah, that's not something you want to do for fun in your sex life.
Yes. Like, you might want to, like, push your edges a little, be, like, challenged or pushed, but you pretty much want to do it. So, all right, Lisa's giving some good advice. All right, guys, thank you so much for the one. Wait, David, there's one more thing I wanted to ask you before we go. Okay, actually, never mind. All right. David, Army Simp says, should I date a girl 4 out of 10?
Huh?
Army Simp is saying, should he date this girl, but she's only 4 out of 10?
Can he get a 10 out of 10? Can he get a 6 out of 10? Why is he considering dating a 4 out of 10? 4 out of 10 just in looks, or 4 out of 10 overall?
I don't know, Army Simp. Your move.
Can they even hear me?
I'm not sure. All right, guys. We'll answer one more question if you super chat, and then we're going All right. Because somebody's saying you missed my question. I can't see it at all. So if you super chat it, we'll see it. But otherwise, we're going. I can't. This is actually a vegan channel.
Okay.
All right, guys. Yeah, I didn't understand what Dark Trap is saying. I always turn down this of interactions. I only follow deep connections. But if Beardo had Victoria like that, I need to think again. Okay. All right, guys.
I would say if 4 out of 10 is the best you can do right now, go right ahead. It's fine. I would say if she's 4 out of 10 physically, but you really like something about her that's not physical, go ahead. It's great.
Maybe one day you'll be wise enough to realize that the beauty scale is not everything in life. You know, submitting to the template by being a 10 is not everything. And when you do that, you will have unlocked a key piece of the female gaze. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining our lives, coming to my quiz. As always, you can get consultations at the link below. And thank you so much for my super chatters. And thanks to my special guest, Beardo, for sharing his soul, his heart and soul with us, and his tips on being the craziest man who ever lived. So, all right,
Are you gonna
guys.
keep this one up?
If you want me to.
I don't know. I mean, I don't really want to be known for like
Thanks.
the abusive boyfriend role player.
So you don't want me to keep it up?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
And thanks to all females in the chat, Lisa and Phoenix, for your wonderful and very needed perspective. And Tyler H, shout out to you. He said thanks to both of you. Dark Trap wants people to know he is not a bot. Yuven says he's attractive and he banters and flirts with a lot of work colleagues, but I never ask their numbers. What goes through their mind then? Yuvens, it's going to be rough, all right? They might think you're gay. They might think you're not attracted to them. And they might
work colleagues and you're scared to ask for their numbers?
And they might think you're very beta or just not understanding what's up with you. I would ask one of them for their number. Anyway, guys.
You don't even need to get a work colleague's number, though.
Okay.
You can go out for like drinks or whatever after work.
All right. Should I call that any misogyny, or should I just end on a high note?
It's up to you. It's your thing.
You know what, guys? I'm going to end on a high note.
I'm kind of angry.
Why?
About something else.
What is it?
Off topic.
Is it about me?
No.
Nice. All right, guys.
Should I bring it up or just end it?
What is it?
Well, it says it's off topic.
Is it about like poker?
No.
Is it about like politics?
No.
Religion?
Sex? It's about my consultancy business.
Oh. Do you want to talk about it?
Kind of.
All right. Lisa says, Victoria and Beardo, will you dress up next time? What do you want us to wear, Lisa? What should we wear? Lingerie? Beardo, feel free to vent.
Okay, I'll rant.
He wants to rant, and then but maybe we should just, because it's already 2:41.
Whatever you want, it's your thing.
Okay, so we'll just leave it up for now.
Okay.
All right.
No rant.
All right, and Lisa, you can always email me, mynonleatherlife@gmail.com, with what costumes you want us to wear. Should we look smacks a little bit harder next time?
Harder than I already look smacks?
Harder than we already do, which is 0. All right, guys. Have a great day. She wants us to wear some dominance outfit, some BDSM gear. Should I wear kind of a dominatrix outfit, or should I be damsel in distress? Time Tyler says, I mean, you could wear lingerie, Victoria. Lol, wouldn't hurt. No, probably wouldn't hurt my channel. Actually, would probably be pretty good for it. But anyway, guys, we really are going now. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks again.
Thank you.